If you have an ambition and don't want to be held back, if you want to do something, there isn't a reason why you can't do it another way.
AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
So how do creatives and talent need to change their thinking, and what do you think they should really be aware of?
I think the worst possible scenario is when a client gives up all of their rights to the same entity.
How was it taking that decision to move from the security of a practice to setting up your own business?
Oh yeah, absolutely terrifying, to be honest. There have been many changes in music, for example. The industry is going to carry on. Creatives carry on creating, and we're there to help them, protect them, help them on their journeys. So it's just very much keeping on top of things, really.
Welcome to SRLV's Not Just a Number. Each episode's candid conversation focuses on the personal stories, business strategies, leadership and top tips from scaling up companies, entrepreneurs, creatives and industry pioneers. Today, I'd like to welcome Praveen Bhatia from Tamworld Media and Entertainment Lawyers, someone I've worked with for more than 20 years on a number of creative clients. Praveen, as a successful lawyer, a woman in business and an entrepreneur yourself, I welcome you. Can I ask you to start by sharing your professional journey?
Thank you, Janice. Yes, so you and I met 24 years ago when I started as a trainee in a media entertainment firm in the music team. And I do actually have permission to say which client that was. So one of the first deals I ever worked on and how I met you was over the Robbie Williams EMI deal, where we met our good friend Nina Parnaby as well. And I think we were the three junior ladies. So we got to know each other and we've stayed friends all of this time, which has been really great. And our paths have crossed in a work way as well.
Yep.
So I had many happy years at that particular law firm. I was very lucky to train and work alongside the managing partner, who was a wonderful mentor. I learned a lot from him. There came a time when there was a little bit of a glass ceiling. I had my 2 kids, and another smaller firm offered me partnership, flexible working before it was a thing, unlimited holiday, again, before it was a thing. So I moved there for about 5 years and started to build my own practice within that firm, and then set up Tamworld just over 5 years ago. And it's been a wonderful journey.
Have not looked back since.
Yes.
How was it taking that decision to move from the security of a practice to setting up your own business?
Oh yeah, absolutely terrifying, to be honest. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It's not easy at all to go through the compliance, get insurance and do all the things that you need to do to set up your own law firm. It was definitely something of a journey, but I was just quite stubborn about it and very determined that I wanted to do it. And I did check with my clients beforehand. They were very good and very supportive, followed me. And now I don't look back. It's just a really great way to work.
And what's been your biggest learning in setting that business up and your journey so far? What advice would you give someone who's in the same position and want to do it themselves?
I think go for it. There's always another way. There's always multiple ways to work, whether actually you're in a law firm or anywhere else. If you have an ambition and don't want to be held back, if you want to do something, there isn't a reason why you can't do it another way.
Yeah. Great advice. And I think we see that in a lot of our client base, people who have an idea, want to take that idea somewhere, and have that courage to step out and do what you've done, which is amazing. What were the gaps you saw in how traditional law firms serve the creative industries? And why do you think it's important for a client to have a specialist firm?
I think it's really important for a client to have a specialist firm to really understand the industry that the client is in. So we know what we are good at, and we are very good at it. We do a lot of it. We know about everything going on in the industries that we work in. It's not something that you can read about or just pick up. It really does come from years of experience, understanding the industry, and then also keeping current with it, doing enough deals all of the time across the different types of companies so that you really do stay up to date. I think that's really important.
And have you seen a lot of change? If you were to look back.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's been really interesting. I remember when I started, it was still a physical product in the music industry. And a lot of the industry was very worried about moving from physical to digital. There have been many changes in music, for example, and actually you just have to roll with it, take it in your stride, and just the industry is going to carry on. Creatives carry on creating, and we're there to help them, protect them, help them on their journeys. So it's just very much keeping on top of things, really.
And what kind of clients do you serve? You mentioned music. Is that predominantly the only industry? What other areas do you guys touch in Tamworld?
So it isn't just music, but we are known for our work in music. We have a really excellent team. We work across fashion, tech, commercial generally, brands, IP, commercial, employment are our core areas.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen particularly here is now clients just don't have one piece of that. Their IP bleeds into all the other areas, and you have to understand how that works. And having that specialist knowledge, we see from a tax and accounting side, is really key, because you need to be able to understand what the client's feeling and what they're going to experience. And I assume for you, it's not just writing a contract, it's the practical implications of that.
Yes, I would say, understanding your client, getting to know them, and working with the client and their team on the right strategy for the client.
Yeah.
For everything that the client wants to do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of looking forward.
Yeah. And boiling it back down to what you're trying to achieve, which I think sometimes gets a little bit lost sometimes in client conversations. You get to the end before you've worked out why you want to get there and how you want to get there. With the media and entertainment world changing so fast, and you speak of some of those changes, what sort of legal pitfalls do you see that clients underestimate?
I think some clients, when they're starting out, are so in need to get into the industry that they are willing to give up more than they have to. So I think the worst possible scenario is when a client gives up all of their rights to the same entity. That's not how we usually do things, as you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen as well. But yeah, that's definitely a bit of a pitfall.
And are we alluding to sort of 360-degree type deals where somebody's interested in owning everything?
Don't even shouldn't really happen, but they still do just occasionally. Just occasionally, I do come across a very unhappy person who signed one of those, or we're presented with one. But for the most part, most of the companies, labels we work with don't do 360 deals.
So typically when you're advising someone, are you encouraging them for you to look at all of their aspects of their affairs, or do people more generally engage you on a piecemeal by piecemeal basis?
We are engaged on a piece by piece basis, but I would always ask, what do you want? And then we go back to where we are now and work out how to get there. To make sure that as much as possible, the client takes the right steps to get to where they want to be.
AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
So how do creatives and talent need to change their thinking, and what do you think they should really be aware of?
It's difficult because we are entering a new age where, you're right, AI is everywhere and we are adapting, probably not as quickly as AI is, quite frankly. We've already come across needing to negotiate specific AI clauses into artist talent agreements or between brands to ensure that content isn't used without permission for AI training, for example.
Right.
clients are becoming more interested, or some clients are more interested and leaning on AI for answers. I spoke to a talent the other day who said, I input everything you said. I said, input into what? Oh, ChatGTP. So,
Yeah.
but it's for us, I suppose, just using what we know for maximizing for the client in respect of AI, and wading through some of the other noise thrown at us by AI, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you touched on it earlier when around streaming, where there was a big fear that the industry would dramatically change and livelihoods were at stake. And do you see AI in a similar vein? Do you think, for instance, it might replace me and you? And how do you feel? Is AI just another streaming, and the industry will settle down, or do you think it will make fundamental change?
I think it will make fundamental change, but I'm not too worried because we will all change with it. I think there will be changes. I've already seen changes. There are certain jobs, roles, things that can be done low cost with AI, and sometimes that's the right thing for a talent or a brand to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just isn't. So sometimes it boils down to resources as well.
Yeah. And I think clever use of AI can help develop careers, I'm sure, quicker and streamline processes and make them more efficient. You're probably similar to us in that clients are nuanced. They're individuals. Their affairs are individuals.
Always.
And yes, ChatGPT will give an answer, but to actually have that applied to your circumstances and understand the practical implications, I think you can only get from an advisor. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing people move more away from it and coming to you with that piece of paper saying, I've got the answer? Or do people come to you without any knowledge?
No, people don't tend to ask me a question where they already have the answer. But I know this person who mentioned I've input what you said must have checked it. I think I did all right though.
So you're now being scored against
Sometimes
ChatGPT.
we get a contract that has clearly been prepared by someone who has no legal background, but they put it through an AI source, and that's quite interesting. Sometimes it presents really well, and then you dig in and think, what's this?
That's really interesting. So how do you know that?
You just know.
It's just a feel rather than not standard wording, or
no, it's just because it's presented very well, but the standard wording, or when you actually read the words, it doesn't mean what it should mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, isn't it?
It is quite fun.
And I think, there's always areas of life where technology is supposed to advance, but actually, you can't take away from the human brain. I know we think about self-assessment for tax, for instance, was the tool to give people the ability to do their own tax returns. Our clients have complexities that need to be presented and understood in a certain way, and you can't do that via a technical tool.
No.
There's a human element that cannot be replaced.
Yeah.
So in terms of clients bringing you guys on board, when is the right time for you to be engaged by a client? When typically do you see people coming through the door, and for what reasons?
Sometimes I see people right at the beginning of their journey, and I do have a number of clients who I have looked after from the very beginning of their professional journey when they were doing something else, a day job, said that they wanted to make music their full-time career. So it's a very wonderful thing, actually, to see somebody go through the journey and get there. It's very rewarding. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be involved in enabling not enabling, but I suppose just being there to encourage and ensure that their talent is enjoyed by them in a way that is right for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes people look to switch legal teams for whatever reason at some point in their career, or perhaps it's a brand that needs specialist lawyers for a specific project.
Yeah. And do you find that more on the employment side than you do on the music side?
No, both. Yeah, sometimes, actually for music as well, if a brand has or it could even be something else, something to do with AI. If a brand has a particular project, they need us on board. So if we can help, we will do.
What are the most common mistakes that you see people make around sort of contracts and particularly IP and the use of their rights? Have those mistakes always been there, or are there new things evolving all the time?
Uh, I think the mistakes have always been there, and a lot of it is to do with negotiating position as well. Um, it's very hard to know because there's no right or wrong, and you could actually sign the perfect contract, but it still might not be the path that is the one that is right for you at that moment in time. Um, I think I'm going back to the answer that I gave you a bit earlier. The most difficult thing is when you advise a client to not do something because you know that the contract is too long or encompasses too many rights.
Yeah.
The client is so, I suppose, desperate is the word for an opportunity that they do it anyway. And then you see it unravel and break later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you involved in that as well? Do you go through that whole journey
Sometimes.
and help them renegotiate?
Well, sometimes there isn't. I mean, quite frankly, if it's not working, sometimes there isn't a renegotiation. So it's just better not to sign that contract in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that comes back round to having a specialist that understands the industry. Because when you can explain the practical implications of the choices that a client is making,
Yes.
it informs them.
Yes.
More than just being able to understand, like read a contract and understand the contract. You can take that journey with them a bit further into the future.
Yeah.
Explain where they might be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time.
On the face of it, a contract might look just fine. But if you know that actually this is not how everybody else does things and it should look more like this or that, the money's in isolation okay, but perhaps the rights periods are wrong and the number of rights are wrong, then yeah, I think that's really important to flag and deal with.
And do you find having that industry specialism and a network of contacts, you're able to take the client further on a journey because of your experience and knowledge?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I think there's no substitute for experience. We're lucky, you and I, to be
old.
Yes. But we are, because unless you've done those deals and know how it works, you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as we said, clients are all individuals. They all have their own circumstances. And then to work, as we have been lucky to over the years, with the client base that we have, you learn a hell of a lot.
Yes.
Even now when a client presents to you their scenario and what they want to achieve, it's not the same as the person that you saw last week, 2 weeks ago. You know, everybody is very different. And I think that's what makes this job exciting and interesting.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think the clients talent need to spend time choosing the right advisor that is the right fit for them. Everybody's different, so I might not be right for everyone, but it's really important to have a lawyer you can trust, an accountant you can trust, people who are actually interested in you, hands-on. So something about our practice is we don't have billing targets and we just reward for the work done. Everybody is excellent. When they walk through the door, they are already excellent at what they do. So there's no palming off on someone who doesn't know what they're doing. But more important than that, you're in safe hands. There's no other agenda. There's no other politics. There's no billing target. So yeah.
You're there just to target, to focus on the client and to target the best outcome for them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which is unusual and refreshing.
It is. It is unusual. It is. Yes. I think we are perhaps the only music specialist firm or firm with the music specialism that works in that way.
And was that a conscious decision?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Because the more traditional law firms reward on billable hours. And if you want to work flexibly, I just wanted to create a model where you can be regarded as excellent, but without being forced to do that number of hours. So work-life balance, for whatever reason that people might want to have it, is actually important to us. We respect that people have lives outside of work. Yeah.
And is that a draw? Has that drawn your colleagues to you and to your practice?
Yes, it is the reason why. It's our core ethos as well, that we are all really good at what we do, but everyone's an individual. It doesn't have to be all about the firm and the brand. We know that each lawyer is going to be excellent at servicing their clients. And yes, each person does want to be able to work in whatever way they want to be able to work in.
Yeah. So. And I think with the advent of COVID, that flexibility has given people a better work-life balance.
Yes.
And still permits people to be, as you say, excellent and do what they need to do in the way that gives them the best opportunity to do it.
Yes. We have our office very close to your office, actually. And we have team meetings and we do a lot of team working. One of my lovely colleagues called a piece of work that we did together, like doing lawyer ballet, which was very sweet. Made me feel quite proud. But our lawyers do work in different ways and however they wish to, and it's always absolutely fine. The clients is always a priority. We have a lawyer who travels a lot. We have lawyers who work around their childcare, lawyers who work around their other needs. So, yeah.
It's nice to give that opportunity to people.
Yes, well, I think you reach a certain age and you just want to be treated for the grown-up that you are, right? So,
yeah. And you will learn to balance what you need to do in a day. It just becomes an art after a while, doesn't it, to get what you need done?
Yes.
Doing done.
Yes, it can be a tricky art, but yeah.
We still get up and do it every day.
Yes, we do.
So we've worked quite closely over the years on a number of different services, and I know more recently we were speaking about the kind of royalty audit side. We have a team here that specialises in that, and they do seem incredibly busy. Is this a service line now that people are recognising and seeing the need to carry out these royalty audits? Have you seen? Is it just new talent that are keen to undertake these kind of services, or legacy artists? What are you seeing in the kind of royalty audits sector?
Not so much new talent, but established artists. We have one that just came in this morning, actually, where it looks like they've been misaccounted to. So it's a very important service.
Yeah, I think from our perspective in the past, we've seen people's income dwindle on the music side, and they're looking to make sure that they are being accounted to properly and maximising that income. Just as a name drop, we have one of our SRLV podcasts where Tony Barton at PRS provides some advice to new artists on how to make sure they get paid for their music. So I think it's becoming more and more important, isn't it, to make sure.
Definitely. And most new artists these days who we start to work with already know how to register at the collection societies. I think some new artists worry about the costs associated with registering, getting professional advisors on board, yourself, me. But we'd usually work something out, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
It's more important to make sure the foundations are laid properly.
Yeah. I think, and to your point, I think the timing of when clients come to you, I don't think can be too early. You know, you work in a similar way to us, that we would be happy to talk to clients and understand their situation, give them some pointers, even if they're not at the right point to come on board as a client, just make them aware of some things they should be thinking about and shouldn't overlook, because often we see clients go a relative step down the road and then find that actually they've got to rewind.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be costly. So for us, I think it's never too early, and we'd be happy to do that. And I know you work in a very similar way.
Yes, I do. It's always better to be able to give those pointers, like you say, early on than someone come to you later and say, oh, I did this. And you think, oh no, why? Why did you do that? But what is sometimes painful is when you've met someone and they go quiet, and then come to you and say, oh, I did this. And I think, but you already knew me. Why didn't you just ask? I would have told you.
Yeah, I think there is a fear around professionals and professionals' fees, but I think we've always worked in a way that we try to cater for anybody in all levels of the industry, and to cost ourselves accordingly, to not prevent people from stepping forward when they want to ask you a question and they really need the advice, but you know they're fearful. So I think it's good to be able to encourage people to come forward, and some of the industry bodies are very good at putting people like me or you on panels to give advice and help people flag post things for people.
Yeah. There are so many resources out there, excellent resources for people in most aspects of the creative sectors.
Yeah. And artist talent should use those for sure.
Yes.
So as businesses are getting bigger and going global, what do you think the biggest opportunity is on the horizon, and how would you advise your clients to take advantage of those?
That global platforms can be accessed from even your home these days is a wonderful thing and a wonderful opportunity. I remember speaking to one particular record label that I'm a big fan of. I think they do a really excellent service for their clients, the artists. And he was talking about how bizarrely for one of my artists, there was a little pocket over here in in some random part of the globe that was very intensely streaming the music, and then another little pocket over here. It's a wonderful thing, I think.
Yeah, and the information I think that comes back the other way now is so informative for clients, isn't it? To know that there's a little pocket in the world where you have a significant fan base is just amazing to know, because it must have been very difficult working blind in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose it's more cost efficient now as well exporting, for example, music it can be done more efficiently, can't it?
Yeah. It's almost borderless, isn't it now?
Yes. Although having said that, we do have the problem of how algorithms work, and certain music is pushed further than certain other music.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
And is that something that is reported or
No.
clients made aware of? It's just something you're aware of as lawyers from reporting?
Oh, I'm just aware of it because somebody was good enough to tell me that an issue with English artists is the way the algorithms work. They're not pushed into mainland Europe as much, because often the native language is pushed first, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They promote their local artists before overseas artists. It's very interesting. You can find out lots now. Now we've all got nice new tech.
and the data behind the tech that's very interesting if you can get your hands on it.
Yeah, and the information that comes out if you can get your hands on it as well.
Yes.
How do you work internationally? Do you work with other lawyers across borders, and you have a network, or are they industry specialists that you've worked with over the years?
So my business partner gives strategic advice internationally, and she works with local counsel in each jurisdiction, but she is the point person to oversee that international strategic advice. Our advice tends to be more bespoke projects, and we liaise with local counsel when we need to. We're all only qualified in our own jurisdiction. There's the odd lawyer out there who's dual qualified. I don't really see anyone with more than 2 qualifications.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. There's some jurisdictions outside of the UK where lawyers can be more grabby. I was approached recently to advise on a document, but it was so different, that jurisdiction's law and ours, that I couldn't do it. So my advice was, well, if you want to have a document effective in English law, then you should ask an English lawyer to draft it. But the lawyer didn't want to let go.
Yeah.
So it can be a control thing as well. We're not like that. If you have to do the thing that is best for your client and make it work for the relevant jurisdiction.
Yeah. And especially if the laws are very different.
Yes.
Absolutely. They need to be advised accordingly. We see a lot of, with the same, we work with firms across the main countries you'd expect clients to want to work in, and we work with advisors locally there because you need to have that expertise the other side as well to make sure you get the right answer for the client.
Yeah, you really do.
It's been lovely having you here.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything that we should know about Tam Ward?
Anything about Tam Ward? What do you mean, like?
What's your strapline? What's your elevator pitch?
Well, we're just very good at what we do and we love what we do. Yeah.
Do you know what, though? I think that's probably it for lots of us.
We're very passionate about what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.